Well, I'm here together also with Sumit, which is our CTO, and he will come online and speak from time to time whenever he feels like. So,
Thank you.
Sumit, just say hi to
Hey,
people.
hi everyone. Glad to be here.
All right, everybody. So we're excited to be in this program with GDA and CoinWeb. We'll jump into Naoris protocol, and in the context of the next top blockchain startup competition, very excited to be one of the hosts, giving prizes to you guys and helping you build on top of our exciting sub-zero post-quantum blockchain here. With a lot of use cases, mainly for cybersecurity and trust-related digital applications. All right, so jumping right into it. So Nash Protocol is the universal trust layer, as we call it, the world's first post-quantum sub-zero blockchain. So post-quantum, why? Because it has the objective of having capabilities that are resistant to Q-day, let's say, or whenever a quantum singularity or a quantum computer has enough qubits to break current elliptic cryptography. So this is made to be extremely resilient in extreme environments. So this was created in a context that was advised by former NATO leaders in order to be backing critical infrastructure, GovTech, and other critical operations for society and even defense spaces. Sub-zero blockchain. Why? Because we are a sub-zero layer. So that means that we sit below, the typical layer 3, layer 2, layer 1, layer 0 that exists in the space. We are directly connected to the infrastructure, and we validate everything that is centralized that supports existing infrastructure of all kinds in a decentralized way. So we decentralize centralized systems. So we're kind of like doing deep in before deep in was a thing, and we do it for everything. And obviously that applies to Web3 operations. Think about dexes, bridges, exchanges, layer ones, layer twos, you name it. They obviously rely on a group of validators that are Web2 based, and even though they are supporting a Web3 infrastructure, and the cloud systems and other servers, etc. So we decentralize all of those. So we create a decentralized cybersecurity mesh, or cyber trust mesh, as we call it, which is a decentralized approach to managing and proving that systems can trust each other across networks. So, for example, that a whole group of validators for a different chain they're actually trusted, they haven't been hacked, and a 51% attack is not incoming. So it provides a lot of resilience to existing Web3 and Web2 environments. And we have been extremely validated by a number of incubators, technology incubators, some of the biggest ones in the world. We applied for the top 15 incubators in the world in various technology areas. We were accepted in 12 and we won 9 of them. You can see in the bottom of the screen the ones we were finalists or we won. The biggest one in telecommunications, biggest one in banking, others in defense, and the biggest one in fintech in North America, and so on. So problem, Web 2 and Web 3 security is failing. Now, I'm going to be talking about security, even though this is actually can be applied to any operations. So every device in the world is a single point of failure. Okay, so that means from an attacker's perspective, all you need to do is attack a single device that's part of an existing network, and either steal credentials that exist there or take over services or processes, and eventually you will be able to either destroy or ransom or exfiltrate data from the whole infrastructure. Now, this is nobody's fault, really. This is how kind of like TCP/IP and the internet has been created. But our approach is really to decentralize all of this, to make sure that every device becomes a validator node, okay, that allows it to validate every other participant and everything that it is running in the infrastructure. So that means that devices are basically forming this trust mesh that are validating each other and everything that's there to be in a trusted state and nothing malicious there, and following best practice, etc. And if they are in that state, then they provide a lot of transparency to the whole service, to the clients, and to the operations, and they become extremely resilient. So the more devices that are under that principle, the harder it is to subvert it. Subvert one of them. You actually need to subvert the consensus across all of them before doing that to a single one. And that's like the biggest change that we bring to Web 2. So we are kind of like a very sneaky way of bringing Web 3 to Web 2 environments. And that is the direct impact in Web 3.
Yeah, this will also solve the one of the biggest problem that we have nowadays with the AI, where can we trust our AI models or not? So this also allows us to solve this problem up to a level where we can trust the device at least who is processing these AI models and come to a conclusion that at least they are not malicious at the time when they're processing it. So both of the thing which is possible with this model is we can originate its possibility of appearance at the time when it is processing the AI models, right, David?
Exactly, exactly. Well said. I mean, in the end, the objective is for you to trust the data that you receive and that the model is good. This cannot be applied to any really digital principle. In this case, we're talking about AI, but could be anything really. So we're talking about the problem and the solution. So right now, you cannot trust device reporting; it's centralized. There are basically the lack of capability for systems to validate that they are indeed trusted when they access each other and they get data from each other. But we allow for that. You can't really trust the status of any device. It takes a long time to detect breaches or hacks. Actually, the average time, according to our partner IBM, is 277 days. Our objective is to reduce that to about 10 milliseconds to 2 seconds. So systems must evolve from castles to communities. So in the context of our creation, we were very much focused on defense, but slowly we are more moving into kind of like critical environments, big organizations, Web 2 and Web 3, banks, highly regulated spaces, and so on, even governments, and also IoT, drone systems, antenna systems, so on. Where we basically decentralize the environments from a perspective of trust and security. So the interesting thing is that the image on the left is basically how companies in really the world works. So everybody's centralized; they manage themselves in a centralized way. However, that's not how they operate. Um, People are working from home. People are getting in flights in airports. They have full connection to their services or servers from their phones, and most of the devices that, including IoT, are actually outside of the perimeter of networks. So it's pretty hard to manage that traditionally. So we help environments to go from the left to the right, which they are already there. There's no know-how, and they cannot manage themselves there. By allowing also for decentralized processing, decentralized storage, which is something that our blockchain allows for. So we focus also on the quantum threat, not only to blockchains but to the existing world. So we actually blockchainize traditional environments, including supply chains, electricity grids, government-related institutions, etc., with post-quantum capabilities. So whenever that is, and we have access to a number of intelligence sources that tell us that that's a lot closer than most people think, and quantum is a lot bigger than AI. It's just not the shiny object yet. It's going to be very soon. We need to solve these problems as soon as possible, and we have been receiving a lot of interest because of our post-quantum chain that we're going to make available in some months for you guys to play with and to build things on, at a completely different level of resilience from a cryptographic perspective. So the world needs post-quantum solutions to secure trillions in vulnerable assets. So as soon as there is a quantum threat that will break all elliptic curve cryptography, if you guys are thinking, what is that? That's basically all cryptography that exists now, like that's used by WhatsApp, banks, your phones, HTTPS, VPNs, even defense. So all these standards are going to be broken by quantum computers in a shorter amount of time than we actually believe. And our objective is to use decentralized methods and assurance that every participant in the network is in a trusted state to basically protect these environments. So 115 trillion dollars is the global assets under management kind of like value right now. So you can call it like the international banking system. Intangible assets, you can call it like intellectual property and other things like that. And the crypto and DLT assets, 2.4 trillion changes every day, whatever the market is right now. It also needs to be backed by post quantum capabilities. Even Vitalik Buterin said that recently in an interview that they need to think about, maybe forking Ethereum with post quantum or something like that. This is something we can help with from an infrastructure perspective and even from a blockchain perspective to other parties. So our objective is to create this sub-zero layer that applies to everything and the digital process to all devices. That is also post-quantum. So the objective is not just be secure now, it's to be secure and trustworthy into the future so that you don't lose your coins. If there's a quantum computer attack and your private keys are lost, all the way to, for example, a government doesn't stop operating because of the same problem. So we bring a lot of possibilities to Web 2 and Web 3. We allow for health checks that are transparent, for example, across infrastructures, across devices, across services, servers, applications, APIs, you name it. We can create and support existing DPINs. So DPINs can be created on top of our protocol by default, basically going directly with our nodes into systems like Windows, Linux, Unix, Mac, and others that we already support, and will be inviting the chosen project, let's say, or group of people to our own ecosystem, so we can help them on that direction, because this is actually a lot deeper than the traditional layer 2 or layer 1 that you're used to seeing. This actually goes deeper into really what's needed in the world. We also allow for increased data quality across any operations. You can say on this screen, you can see like basically an overview of how other projects, let's say, or chains, and what layer they operate under. So you have a number of layer zeros there, layer ones, layer twos, layer threes, and then you have our what we call fundamental layer, which is a sub-zero layer, which we are the first ones to operate on, that enhances security for the entire blockchain stack using post-quantum cryptography and swarm AI, which is decentralized AI system that also operates under consensus, that exists in, or can exist in edge computing devices. And we ensure that the network maintains optimal performance and security for Web 2 and Web 3 DEXs, bridges, DPINs, you name it. All right. So this is kind of like a simple overview of the architecture. So devices have nodes, or that can be called agents, that can interrogate the devices constantly, and that means everything that runs there that might be, for example, a validator on an existing chain, or servers that support, for example, an existing exchange, or servers that support, for example, a nuclear power station in the real world. Really doesn't matter if it's Web 2 or Web 3. They create a validator network that connects directly to our consensus mechanism called DPoSec, distributed proof of security, that's unique to us, where all these devices kind of like form a collective of post-quantum validated status systems that allow for things to be continuously interrogated and validated under consensus. So it makes it a lot harder for an attacker to actually take over specific critical things. Uh, Talking about the decentralized trust mesh, we actually did quite a bit of research ourselves, Sumit, our CTO, and the various academic spaces that we are partnering with, both in Europe and also in the US. We have gone deep into the post-quantum side, the applications in Web 2 for critical environments, defense, governments, and Web 3. And we have created various products that are Web3 products that are going to be part of our ecosystem, and released sometime soon under the Naoris protocol, which we are hoping that you guys can help us develop new ones as well. So we're very excited about incentivized infrastructure. Wouldn't it be cool to create kind of like a post-quantum bridge, or a post-quantum DEX, or post-quantum rollups, or all this super awesome cool stuff? I think we can help you guys, and I'm sure you guys can help us. So our objective is really to bring Web3 to the world as it is right now, without even them knowing that they're using Web3. I honestly believe that that's the way. And from all the feedback that I've had, from partners of ours like IBM and T-Mobile and many others, this is the kind of future they are open for. And to go out of the traditional Web3 only environment and kind of like create hybrid systems, because eventually, yes, we'll get to a world where everything is Web3, but right now what we need is a mix of both, and that's like the best way for it to be broadly adopted. Our objectives here on the trust mesh are to reduce world threats by an order of magnitude. If you guys don't know, if cyber risks were a country, they would be the third biggest economy in the world at about $10 trillion. So our objective is to reduce that in the next 5 to 10 years by 1 0. Enable sharing of immutable proof of trust between ecosystem partners. So that means between networks, between projects. So when you go into a chain, ideally in the future, you would know that all the nodes in that chain are trusted, and you can, they are provably trusted. Otherwise, they cannot participate. So this is something that we can do for them and integrate with them and all that stuff. And that applies for really anything else digital. And it increases data quality, integrity, and of course confidentiality because of the post-quantum approach. So Sumit, do you want to go over this part here about like the things that we have achieved in the last 4 years?
Yeah, of course. Thank you, David. From the team perspective, we are actually grown to 80 plus engineers now. We are spread across the globe to do our task. We have 4 academic papers which are already published and pretty much available online. We are working on the fourth one currently, which is coming soon. That will be next release on the quantum. We have released the previous quantum study and our outcomes in the South Africa last year in a conference of IEEE, which is already there, which get already get a lot of cited on the paper on the site currently. So David already covered about the prestigious award that we have already received. We received the award with the Germany as well. Uh, would you like to cover the revenue
Sure,
and
sure,
the
sure,
okay?
sure. So unusually for a layer anything on blockchain, we actually have real world use cases. So we actually have clients on the pipeline and stuff like that, which is really interesting for us and for our investors, both in the blockchain and also on the equity side. And we're actually building a number, or we're going with a number of proof of concepts right now with the GovTech and banks and stuff like that. Lots of use cases for Naoris protocol, as you can imagine. So it impacts directly things like authentication, authorization, security, trust, and things like these that are fundamental for any sort of IT systems. And it impacts very heavily also Web3, including wallets, exchanges, dexes, bridges, etc., and validators, and whole ecosystems that right now are absolutely non-transparent. And once something happens, everybody suffers directly in their wallet because it's too late.
Yeah.
So this is a list of papers that peer-reviewed papers that we have pushed forward. That Sumit mentioned. Coming soon, another post-quantum crypto system paper with an American university, which we're quite excited to push forward. So this is kind of like an overall comparison with other networks of our Naoris protocol, both the post-quantum and the Sub-Zero chain. You will be working on either of these, so we'll work with you to see which one you will be working on. They are both compatible with each other. The difference is that the project Oloid Rain, as we call it, the quantum chain in our side, is actually completely just using post quantum cryptography, post quantum keys, post quantum hashes, etc., 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 which is quite unique. So regarding token utility, validators of noise allow for, as they validate, they earn. As they validate security and trust across the chain, they earn rewards. They create what we call a secure mesh. And it creates this kind of like, machine to machine economy, where many transactions are actually happening because of validations of devices, not necessarily smart contracts, which is kind of like a different approach. And that's going to be on the Naoris token. These are some of the partnerships we have right now with IBM, with T-Mobile, big robotics companies, banks, some of the biggest consultancy companies in the world, in many different environments. And this is the kind of things that we would love to see on top of this protocol. DAOs, deep in DeFi areas, metaverse, bridges, as we mentioned, focus a lot on the post-quantum capabilities with, for example, authentication, authorization, identity. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Even gaming, wallets, DAOs, DeFi. There's a lot to be done there from a perspective of trust, like phishing mitigation. things that the Web3 environment really needs, like really needs. Sumit, do you want to say some more examples?
I think we can. We also like to see it extending towards the distribution of the critical processes that we actually have. So, for example, if we have an application which is completely in Web 2.0, and we would like to see the strategy of migrating that as a decentralized services using Naoris protocol.
Yeah,
So those are the pretty much extensive areas where we can actually
yeah,
help the people to grow on both the grounds.
yeah. Think about, for example, microloans, or
Yeah.
really, yeah. There's lots of interesting opportunities with full assurance of security that we can provide, that is quite unique to us. So these some of our partners I mentioned before here, some of our investors, including Team Draper, GDA also, um, and these are milestones. You can also find them on the website. That's just me, so I'll introduce myself quickly, which I think I should have done in the beginning. So my name is David Carvalho. I've been an ethical hacker for 25 years. I've been advisor to a number of nation states under the European Union and NATO umbrellas on cyber war, cyber terrorism, and cyber espionage matters. And I've been the global chief of security of various multi-billion-dollar companies, both in Europe and also in the UK. And I've led a number of groups that are focused on really kind of like improving current standards for technology in various areas, even under the European Union and things like that. Sumit, do you want to introduce
No,
yourself?
I think I have the next. I'm on the next slide.
Okay, very cool.
I will go there.
So we're also part of the team. We have one of the grandfathers of parts of the internet. Let's say David Holtzman, which is the architect of the DNS system for the internet. He actually ran the whole internet until the year 2000. Is our chief of strategy, and is a former chief scientist of IBM. Was advisor to various White House presidential campaigns for cyber. Shelgan Han is the former chief of intelligence of NATO. He was with us since the very beginning. We now work mainly with his son Knut, that is heading the Norwegian Cyber Command. Mick Mulvaney is the former chief of staff of the previous White House administration. That's also helping us quite a bit on the side of investment and clients. And Mr. Ahmed Reda Chami, which is a former CEO of Microsoft North Africa and Microsoft president of Southeast Asia. So we are very, very well backed, very big people here. And Sumit, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Sumit, and I'm having an experience of more than 20 plus years in the industry designing different platforms. Uh, I'm actually in crypto since last 10 years approximately, so pretty early adopter on these grounds. I've seen uh, and worked for MNCs, multinational companies in my career that way. That's a pretty brief about myself.
Yeah, Sumit is very shy about talking about it, but he worked for small guys like Microsoft and eBay and so on. And that's it. Thank you so much, guys. We're very excited to receive your applications in as much detail as possible. Be creative, and very excited to participate in this competition, this hackathon. So yeah, go guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David, for your presentation. We got a couple questions on the chat and also Discord, so we'll try to answer as many as possible. The first question here on the chat from Sean is, what are you looking in order for us to win the first prize? And is there any tools available, SDKs, testnet? And they also asked another question, what is the post-quantum cryptography methods used? So a couple of questions in one.
Well, I think I could answer that, but I think it would be more interesting for Sumit to answer.
Okay, so I will pick them one by one. So uh, let me start with the post quantum methodology. So yeah, we know that there are plenty of methodology there, and we are very precise to use dilithium versions on the different areas. We use dilithium precisely to implement this chain so that it can opt the post quantum side of this. Can you repeat the second one? Can you repeat the previous two, please?
Yeah, there were kind
Uh,
of like three.
Yeah.
what tools are available? Is there testnet, any SDKs?
Yeah, so this is going to be like the one that is shortlisted will get every detail of that side. We will be sharing you the documentation. We will be sharing the tooling will be approximately it's going to be same because, for example, if you need to create the contacts on top of our chain, It is pretty much compatible with all Ethereum related stuffs. So you can use Remix or the existing IDEs that you are using as of now. That is pretty much only thing that you need is to connect to our network in that way.
Yeah.
And apart from that, if you need to install your full node, that's also possible, but that's only available on invitation basis.
Yeah, yeah. So we are EVM compatible. This is a custom BFT build, um, and yeah, we will be sharing more information with you guys post this meeting.
Yeah.
And especially for the application, that one will be inviting them to kind of like work closer with us and build the things that they wanted to build. So yeah, happy to go for another question.
What are you looking for in terms of building to win the first prize? That's the question.
What are we looking, really, we're looking for your imagination to
Creative.
come out, like there's nothing specifically that we have in our, like, there are things that we ourselves are developing that are going to be parts of the Naoris ecosystem, of Naoris protocol and Naoris chain, and etc., that are going to have their own crypto, so on and so forth. However, those things are kind of like, limited in scope and amount, and what we're looking for is for fresh ideas. So the more disruptive you can be with your idea, and the more impact you think it can have, and the more use cases it can have, the more kind of like adaptability it can have. So the more ubiquitous, I think that's a hard word, but that's, the more it can be used by others, the more interested we would be on it.
Another question. Can you provide examples how we can integrate existing applications with Naoris?
Uh, yeah, I would like to pick that.
Sure.
So yes, you can actually integrate it like any application that you are looking forward as existing DApp application that follows the smart contract is the easier integration. You can easily migrate to the Norris protocol because we are not changing the laws. We are just changing the way the framework is working. So the law remains same. So any application that is existing DApp, banking, financial systems that you already work with that use this site, DeFi applications, right? Dapps, wallets, they all get supported here.
Yeah, and it doesn't, this is the fun thing, like we can actually dip in with North Protocol, we would be able together to dip in anything.
Yeah.
So if you think that, oh, this specific application, this specific, whatever ERP, whatever application would be really cool if it was, a deep in network of itself. This is something we can do.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. That's a creative thought.
I'm
Deep.
just helping the people.
All right. I see also Samuel asked, what about the Naoris Ambassador Program?
The Naoris Investor Program right now, so we are in strategic investment round right now. So if somebody, of course, we accept kind of like, these are kind of like more for larger checks, but if there is interest in investing in this, either as a DAO or as a singular person or as an entity, we just talk to someone in our Telegram or Discord, and they will point you on the right direction for this. So the current investment round for KOLs is also ongoing. So both the strategic round and the KOL round is ongoing. So if you are a KOL or you know a KOL that would be very excited by this, please let us know. We will vet this person and then we'll accept their contribution.
David, the question was ambassador program, but also thanks for sharing the investor.
Sorry, I understood investor. Naoris ambassador program. I think that question is actually more targeted at Guy Davis. You can find Guy from our marketing team in our Telegram or in our Discord, and he will give you those details.
All right, sounds great. One last question. Where can we find some resources and tools, and what kinds are available?
So there is quite a bit of documentation on our website. We have a knowledge base that you can find on our website that goes pretty deep into a bunch of areas. If you have other questions, you can also ask either the community or ask for these questions on the Discord or Telegram, and we'll find somebody that can answer. Yeah, and I think that's we work quite a bit on the FAQs and on the knowledge base. So there's quite a bit of stuff there. There's also all the white papers. There's a lot to consume. If you still have questions after that, feel free to ask.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending another webinar. Please join our Discord. Please follow Naoris on Twitter. We'll have someone from the team. We have mentors to answer any of your questions while you're building. Thank you so much, David. Thank you so much, Sumit. It was a great webinar.
It's a pleasure. Thank